All right, hello and welcome to League of Vloggers. This is episode 30 this evening.
Yeah.
Tonight, our hosts, as always, we've got Kurtis James.
Hey.
We've got Heather, aka Stormy, or other way around, I guess. And then myself, I'm Viking Redbeard or Chase. This weekend, we watched all of the matches for the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
We saw 13 matches total, as I did the math earlier, and it turns out 445 equals 13.
That is true.
Yeah, so we got Clutch versus FlyQuest, we got Clutch versus CLG, and then we got Clutch versus TSM.
Clutch versus the world.
Clutch is going to take on Worlds very soon.
Yeah, I guess wow.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. Thank you for that
It
setup.
took me a moment.
But yeah, so we got some really good games from Clutch this weekend. We got a few not so good games, but overall, Clutch looked pretty solid. We can dive right into Friday's matches, day one.
Yeah, I mean, let's start at the beginning.
In the beginning, there was Cody-san.
So yeah, right.
He was the forlorn prophet.
So
it was destined that if Cody-san is on your team, you go to Worlds.
So fun fact, somebody
Yeah.
pointed out on Reddit,
Yeah.
Heather-san as well. Just jumping to the end here, of course, Clutch going to Worlds. We already mentioned it. The last 3 years, NA has sent the same 380 carries.
That is so impressive to me, especially because I didn't know about the Cody-san thing. Like,
Yeah.
Double Lift and Sneaky, that's obvious. I knew that.
Sneaky all 3 years on Cloud9.
But Cody-san.
Double Lift 2 years on TL, and the previous year on TSM. And Cody-san this year on Clutch, last year 100 Thieves, and the year before that on Immortals.
Yeah.
And the 100 Thieves thing, people might be like, oh, but Riccara was their 80 carry. No, they went in on points, which they earned all those points with Cody-san, because Cody-san was their spring split 80 carry, got them all the way to the finals, which they lost. So they got second, right? Yeah, they lost to TL, the spring split, because TL has 4 of them now. So that was Cody-san. Then Cody-san was their 80 carry for the entire regular season, and they proceeded to lose everything in the postseason. So they got no extra points using Riccara, and they still got second seed. They didn't have to play in Gauntlet. So Cody-san got them to Worlds. Like, if anybody wanted to make an argument that, oh, it was Riccara at that time. No, Riccara did dick. He got them nothing, and they got to Worlds.
He showed up, got a participation ribbon, and got a free ride to China to go play some games.
Got a free ride to get his ass beat.
Yeah. He is very, is undervalued, underappreciated, like where you're...
Riccara or Cody-san?
No, Cody-san.
Cody-san.
We harped on 100
I think
Thieves
undervalued,
about Cody-san.
underappreciated. He's like under the radar.
Yeah, under the radar. Like, there's another word I'm looking for, but I can't think of it right now. But he's definitely, like, a really good AC, low-key. Like, no one...
Yeah.
We were talking about it, I think, at the very end
We talked
of the
about it
season.
in depth last year.
Yeah.
And we thought that 100 Thieves was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, okay,
I've heard
you've
of
just
this.
done and fucked
We
yourself.
just talked about it.
We've only bitched about it a few hundred times.
And we got to bitch about 100 Thieves again real quick. I like that.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you checked one of my episode boxes off.
He's rocking a halvesy right now.
I got to shit on 100 Thieves.
I'm okay
Makes me
with
happy.
that, but...
But, I mean, so, like, Cody-san, though, I think, yeah, in general, he's been underappreciated. I think at this point, that ends, though. Like, when you make it with 3 separate teams, 3 years in a row, and, like, you're very obviously one of the top 3-4 80 carries in the league.
I didn't know this at all. He just came out of the blue summer split. It was doing kind of bad in the beginning, and then at the end, was it Cody-san that we were talking about that had, like, no deaths for 4 games or something, 5 games? Who was the ADC that managed to pull that off? Was it Cody-san?
Yeah, that was Cody-san.
Right?
He was deathless through, like, 9.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or he had, like,
It's
1 death in
stretch,
9
but-
games. No, he legitimately went 7 games without a death for sure. I think he died once and then went deathless the next game.
There you have it. That's, I mean, if you're
Like,
doing that and even you're not, like, getting that recognition for it, that's, you gotta be talking about this kid, man. He's real good.
No,
And they have a solid
we've
team.
had nothing but love for Cody-san for a long time. So
Yeah.
Well, here's my love now for him. Because he deserves it, man.
Yeah. But let's start actually on that Friday game, FlyQuest. So, Clutch had made a run at the end of the season. They came up from the bottom to just make well, not just make playoffs even. They got the 5th seed. So they got in, they walloped TSM, they took TL to 5 games, and they lost to CLG in 5 games to end up 4th overall, right? Now, FlyQuest, who was 4th last split, ended up 9th this split.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they had a month off to practice and get prepared, but I don't think any of us really had any misconception that they were going to show up and be like really good or even pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, they got a game.
They
got the first game off of them. Congratulations for that.
Yeah.
But FlyQuest, it's so weird because they didn't make any changes other than switching their support partway through the split. And honestly, I'd still rather have Wadid than, was it JJ?
Yeah.
JJ. I think that's
Wadid
an
better.
upgrade.
I think Wadid's an upgrade.
Yeah. And yet they went from here to here.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a disappointing way to finish out a season that started so promising.
Yeah. Considering that Turtle's usually so good, like, I don't know that Turtle's the problem, but, like, just as a team, they did not work very well together. Sorry, FlyQuest. Like, hopefully you can, like, bring it back next split, but they kind of had a pretty poor, like, showing, like, the second half of the split, and even in the Gauntlet, it's just like, we had a lot of faith in you, and you kind of just, like, petered off.
I was psyched for them after the first split, and then nothing came
Especially,
of
like,
it.
Viper and his ribbon coming out and just...
Yeah, Viper looked like he was, like, becoming a really good top laner.
Yeah.
Like, not amazing, but, like,
Santorin was
quite
the
good.
only one to make it into the top 3...
Jungler, right? Yeah. He was the only one that wasn't TSM Cloud9 TL in, like, the All-Star voting. You're right, yeah. And
it was very disappointing.
It was so weird to see them go from that to just not just like worse, but so bad. Yeah. Like, the only team they weren't worse than was Echo Fox, which was a team that on a company level was imploding. And like I've heard some more stuff since then in interviews like that. There's basically no team support. Like, that the company is shit, and so the league will be better off without it there. Which isn't surprising considering what we saw last season when they dumped players immediately before the deadline. Like, they, as a player, what?
Was that Fox?
Yeah, that was Fox. They dumped Phoenix, not Apollo.
Didn't they just pick him back up?
Yeah. The fact that Phoenix went back to them, we talked about it was shocking to us.
But it was probably the best opportunity because now he's in a position where he can go somewhere else too.
Maybe.
So
he might still just be done.
I don't think he's trash.
I think that might have been the only offer he had.
Did he
start?
Did he pick up his residency at this point? Or he's still just shy of it, isn't he?
I have no idea.
Because, I mean, he would have had residency.
He would have had it already this year, but then they changed the rules on it, so I don't know.
Okay. Like, he would have had it had he not been dumped by Fox already.
Yeah.
And then I think it's something reset or something.
Yeah. But back to FlyQuest. So, I mean, you've got Viper, Santorin, Pobelter, Wild Turtle, Wadid. Nobody on that team is a current star.
Yeah.
There's some past stars on there, but and it felt like Viper was up and coming. Wadid's not been around for a long time, but I feel like he can be good. What does that team do moving forward? Like, are they hoping to, and do they have the money to maybe pick off Bjergsen or Sven if they want to leave TSM?
Money to pick up Bjergsen.
They can't be paying that much to those other players, can they?
I guess that's true.
Like, I mean, of course, those players being willing to move is the hardest part.
I think
of course.
Bjergsen and Sven are out.
I think Sven's gone, but we'll talk about that when we get more TSM. But it feels like FlyQuest has to make a roster change, don't they?
I mean, if they
get Dardoch in the jungle, I don't fucking know.
No, I don't.
We try to deal Dardoch to everyone who's struggling.
I feel like Santorin's still pretty good. I feel like they all have a level of goodness that they're just not really achieving.
Yeah, I just
I'm
feel
still
like
holding out for Dardoch to go to Clutch. Like,
although Lear's looking rejuvenated, but we'll talk about that
Lear's
too.
looking really good too, so it doesn't make sense to do anything with him. But
Lear's looking solid.
You know, I've got hope up in here.
Yeah.
I'll rock that Dignitas jersey next year.
Quick thing with Clutch, I did forget to mention, we were talking about Rikara. He is actually their sub-AD carry right now for Clutch. So he's sitting behind
That's
Cody's
also
son
worrisome.
No, because Clutch slash Dignitas isn't full of stupid, terrible management.
Okay, good. Because I was about to say, there's no way they play Rikara over Cody's son. Even if Cody's son's like, yo guys, I'm having issues, I can't do it. They're like, Cody's son, get the fuck up on that stage.
Cody-san could lose his left hand, and they'd be like, "You can poke with the stump, right? We'll just like put a stick strapped to it, and you can poke the buttons, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got this." Like,
it would be really funny and a little like throwing some shade, but if they had Rikara play like game 1 of the play-ins or something, and then doesn't play anymore, just to like, look at what we can do, 100 Thieves, we can play Rikara, but then we can make the right decision, put Cody-san back in.
or if they just win still with regard, goes,
Or-
"Hey, look,
or-
we can still win if we don't play Cody-san."
Oh, that'd be a slap in the face. Right
I'd like to
there,
see
with
it,
Rikara.
mostly because I just want to throw shade at 100 Thieves, but...
And actually, if that happened, which it won't, I would feel good for Rikara for him to be able to have some fucking redemption.
That's true. Because it's not
Like-
really all his fault,
Yeah,
right?
no.
Yeah.
Like, it was on the management, and from what I hear, it's a lot the coaching with Prawley that he made that decision and the Medios decision. And it's just like, yeah. Or you could make, good decisions like Dignitas, Clutch, soon to be Dignitas
It's
has.
exciting. So I've gotten over my initial Clutch.
Anger.
Yeah. And because when we first did the podcast like a week ago, when we were saying like it'd be nice if Clutch goes to Worlds, and I was like Clutch or CLG, it's fine.
Yeah,
Take both to Worlds,
exactly.
doesn't matter. I like them both. I got super upset that Clutch won over CLG because I really wanted to see CLG go to Worlds. It'd be all blue teams. It'd be great. It'd be awesome. I get Wiggly in Worlds.
It
It'd
was
be
for
awesome.
the palette choice.
Yes. But I had said that if Clutch goes to World, I'd be okay with that too. So after my initial anger that they beat CLG, I'm still very much happy that Clutch is going to Worlds, even though I was like TSM should crush him.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you wanted revenge.
TSM should crush him.
So bad. So bad.
Because they definitely deserved it,
Yeah.
and we'll get to see this play out. And they're going as Clutch, which kind of sucks. Not Dignitas, but at least they're repping the colors for Dignitas and the kind of switch over.
Well,
We
I wanna
discussed
get into that a
that we
bit
want to
more.
see him show up at Worlds with some Dignitas jerseys and then have like the Clutch.
Yeah,
symbol
like
be
right
kind
now,
of, like-
Clutch is
Secondary,
here and
right?
Dignitas
Yes.
is on the side.
Yes.
If it's
I would be okay with
legal,
that.
because I'm sure there are rules regarding what jerseys
I
can and
didn't think
cannot
about that.
have. If it's legal for them to put the Dignitas stuff on the front and the Clutch on the side, absolutely. Or even if they if it's like no, they have to include the team's name or logo. I would have it be like Dignitas is Clutch or something like
That'd
that.
be cool.
There,
That'd
it's
be
like a
nice.
sentence, like and it's just like oh yeah, or Clutch is Dignitas.
It's very
you know,
exciting
whatever.
for
but
them,
like the other way's
especially-
fun.
Especially with their
Exit Clutch, enter Dignitas.
Yeah.
Oh my god, if they win Worlds as this, that would be okay. You know what?
Okay, yeah, we're going a little far there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would
We're
love
just
to see.
glad they made it. Like, I want to see them get
They're
the
in the play-in
groups.
stage, yeah. So
I
they
want to
gotta
see them
out
get
of
the
that
groups. Like
first.
until I see what happens in the
Who
groups,
do they
I'm not
play
gonna.
against?
We have no idea yet.
Damn one.
Group,
And
no.
Invictus.
We have no idea who they play yet. So we'll get into that. I printed off all the teams that have qualified so far,
Cool.
but we'll come to that at the end. But yeah, I think like them rocking a Dignitas, like not rocking the jerseys they're rocking right now.
Yeah.
Rocking a redesign for Worlds, which most teams do, or a lot, especially like the major regions, because
Yeah,
you
I can
have
see
enough
that.
money to do that.
China just like went all in on Nike jerseys.
Did
They
they
announced today.
Oh yeah.
Or yesterday.
Okay.
Just do it, man.
But yeah, like if they rock a new jersey that is very much like Dignitas Center, not just like color swap of the previous jersey, but like okay, here's completely new design, and it's using the yellow and black to its best, and it more prominently features Dignitas stuff. I would love that. That'd be great. And honestly, I said like, as the Dignitas people who like bought into this team and are like taking over it, like because Clutch is still involved, it's just the controlling stake is to Dignitas now. You could have not asked for a better transition for your brand.
Yeah.
To be like, all right, these players suddenly are coming online. They are the story. They are the Cinderella story. They're coming up from the bottom. Like, yeah, DeMonte said he's like, oh, it's, if we wanted to be like the best Cinderella story ever, which isn't quite true actually, because Cloud9 made Worlds from 10th place once.
Are you serious?
10th place halfway through the split.
That was just last year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was it last year or the year before?
It was last year.
Yeah, fuck, yeah. But yeah, they were like 10th place.
I'm just surprised that Cloud9 was 10th place in anything.
Yeah, they've done it twice then,
Well,
actually.
so they
Shit.
sat basically most of their starting team because they were all fucking off. I think they were all playing World of Warcraft or something.
They just weren't motivated, yeah.
And so they benched their entire
funny.
team,
They benched
brought in the B
Sneaky,
squad,
Yeah.
and the B squad wasn't doing so hot. And then like
Which is
2
funny
or 3
'cause
weeks in, they're
the B
like,
squad
They
was
slowly
ace.
start
yeah.
filtering back into the squad.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, they did hit 10th then. They also did this one other time, actually. It was Jensen's first split on Cloud9. They were in 10th place. They brought back High in the jungle to, like, carry them up into just making the Gauntlet. And that was the time they did reverse sweeps twice in the Gauntlet to make it through. And
wow.
And that was the first Gauntlet ever, I think, or something. Yeah. This was the first Gauntlet that did not feature Cloud9 winning it.
Nice. All right. Good job, Cloud9, for not even
for not having to be in it for once.
There you go.
Like, I'm still sad we didn't win a championship, but fuck.
Is G-Rex on there anywhere yet?
No,
not yet.
they did not qualify.
Fucking
sad.
no cool dinosaurs.
Because G-Rex was from LMS.
But, okay, so at some point, Clutch is probably going to have to play this one, right? That's the one that's worrisome.
So I'll come into that.
All right.
And actually, the chances of them playing them are 0.
Never mind. Well, fuck it. Because that was the only one I'm really worried about. Because I don't know these people.
Yeah, but yeah, Clutch, I mean, like, what better shit could you ask for? Quick last notes on FlyQuest, though, before we move on to Clutch CLG. They got the game, so good for them. Obviously, they have a lot of changing to go into next split. Now, we all agree on that. Where do you think is the biggest thing they need to change? Whether it's management, team culture, or a player. Like, pick one thing. What's the biggest one?
I don't think it's player. I think it's players.
But if you have to only replace one, that's what I'm saying.
Half on his bench, half not. But keep going.
I have to look at the roster.
Okay, so
it's Viper, Santorin, Pobelter, Wild Turtle, Wadid.
I think it's...
Okay, well, that's really hard because I think they're all pretty decent players, and I don't think there's any one change that could happen that would dramatically change things. So then at this point, I'm going to say management. Change the coach.
Okay. All right. And I think that's a perfectly acceptable answer, like saying, oh yeah, they're all pretty good, because they are all pretty good. Now, you think one player is...
I hate saying it because I like Pobelter, but I think it would probably be Pobelter.
He's got it. You're talking.
Sorry. Yeah, so maybe mid, because I like Viper up and top, I like Santorin, I like Wild Turtle, and I like Wadid. And I like Pobelter, but I also think he's probably... Because mid is so important. If you are... Because I lately, guys, I've been climbing, and even if I'm losing early game, all I have to do is fucking sit back and not die anymore and let the other lanes carry. And if you don't feed that mid lane, there's a chance you can still win, even if you're behind.
Alan from the chat said that Pobelter and Turtle were...
He's right there with you, and he said Pobelter because mid's so important.
Mid is incredibly... Like, even if... As long as you just hold the lane, because it is the quickest way to get to... Because objectives, that's all that matters in League. Yep. Objectives is the towers, the turrets, the nexus, or the inhibitor, and then the nexus turrets, and the nexus. That's how you win the fucking game. It's not about kills. It's not about anything else. The dragons will definitely help, obviously, because that's an entire game buff. But mid lane is the quickest you win, and that's generally the one that pushes the most. So even if you're behind, if you can hold on to that lane and keep the turrets alive, you're doing your best job you can.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably where they can do it. And then, like, second to that, like, B point is bans. Fucking ban Kiana.
Against Clutch, yeah.
That's what I'm missing.
Well, that's the thing, like,
ban the fucking right champs. That's what you gotta do.
So, like, when it comes to FlyQuest, I'm with you. I think it's probably Pobelter, Wild Turtle, which sucks because they both have been very good players in the past.
Yes.
But, and, like,
it's
as much as I want to be like, oh, it's in the past, you're done. I've thought that about Huni. I've thought that about Lyra. I've thought that about Svenskeren.
He's not gonna say Demonte.
Well, Demonte's new.
Yeah, Froggen has looked good.
Fair.
I don't think Froggen's made the resurgence those other players I've mentioned have. And, like, Lyra's is very short-lived so far. It's very new. But, like, and Huni's kind of is too. But, like, Huni was a boss through these playoffs. Like, the playoffs and the Gauntlet both. Like, all of a sudden, like, I don't quite go to the level where I'm like, oh, it's Huni of old, because I remember watching Huni of old, where he was fucking around and still winning lane, and when he won the lane and wasn't, like, fucking around as much, he was dumbstring bitches. Like, he could straight 1v9 some games. It was gross. But he's always had the thing where he is boom or bust. That happened even on SKT when they got second place, because Huni's super volatile. But
speaking of Huni, he is the first player to go to Worlds on from 3 separate regions.
There's a second one now too, as of like the next day or later that day. But still, like, it's super important. I can't remember who the other one is. It's somebody who went like Korea, China, and LMS, I think. But yeah, like, that's still fucking awesome.
So did he go on 3 separate regions, or is this
Fnatic
the third?
and
this
EU?
Is the third.
This is the third.
He went
so
Fnatic,
it's 2015,
EU,
17, and 19.
Correct.
Yeah.
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 So Fnatic
They were
in
making jokes
15,
about that in
KT,
Reddit, yeah.
SKT in 17, and now
Good for
Clutch.
him. He's definitely shown up, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very good player. I think his legacy, while it was already pretty solidified, is absolutely solidified now to make it on a third team from a third region, like over the course of fucking 5 years. Like,
This is barely making it.
I mean,
though. We
considering
should be
that
on,
he's
like,
still
look-
fucking
very-
counts,
it
and
does
like
count. He's there.
he was a key player in it too. It wasn't like he got
Yes.
carried the fuck along.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Like his GP games,
I feel like
his
all of his
Aatrox,
team,
like
all of his team worked for this, but at the same time, their worked for this is, SKT's. We, were taking showers while we played. Like, and the keyboard was in the water. It was fucking up. We were still winning.
All right. All the way back though. Let's talk about FlyQuest.
We keep going off.
Yeah, we're getting
just-
like on a
FlyQuest
tangent and then a
so
tangent
fucking-
off of that. We're like fucking out in the movies.
And you were talking, like, we didn't go to him for FlyQuest.
No,
did we,
he
kinda?
started with it. He said management, coaching.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So I think honestly, if they're gonna do a mid, it's gonna have to be an import. Because like while Demonte has been a revelation, I feel like so many mids in NA end up being giant busts. Like the talent's there, you can find it, but it's a question of where. 80 carries, I feel like we haven't found a huge success one, like a lot. But it's also because we underrate them, like Cody Sun. Because if you look at the 3 best 80 carries in NA, Double Lift, Sneaky, Cody Sun, they're all native fucking players. There's good 80 carries in NA. It's just a matter of finding them and playing them. And too many teams are constantly trying to import that shit, like Bang, and nothing against Bang, Sven, etc. But like they're there. Wild Turtle was very good for a long fucking time. He's also a native player. But I think, like, you can find another one here. Yeah. And that does allow the option then, if they have to still switch out another player, they have another import slot. Santorin's their only import right now. Or no, they have Wadid, so they have 2. They have 2 imports, and so that's why I would venture towards replacing Wild Turtle. Also because Wild Turtle has a lot, as Alan mentioned in the chat, he's a lot like Huni, where he's been feast or famine. Like, because he makes the big play, but sometimes it's the big play for the other team. And Hope Welcher's a bit more stable. It's just sometimes he feels invisible.
Yes.
He doesn't lose the game, he just fails to help you win it.
I was going to say that Wild Turtle and Huni have a lot in common. I feel like they play better when the team around them is playing well.
So true.
Huni, if his team isn't playing up to standard, Huni is just like, fuck it, I don't even care.
It's like a mental checkout.
And I feel like Wild Turtle's doing the same. Like, when the team around him plays well, he just goes crazy. When the team around him is kind of like flailing and flopping, like, he's doing the same thing. Like, and I know that that's really easy to say because, like, I mean, hey, if my team's not winning and I'm not winning, I'm just going to blame everyone else. But
been there.
when your team
your
team like is working together cohesively, like those 2 players, they play really well to their strengths.
Yeah.
And like
it's possible to come back though, and I think that like Huni has shown a bit more of that mentality in these series.
And that's part of the reason I'm so hesitant to be like, ditch Wild Turtle and Pobelter, because we've seen them be so good in the past.
Yes.
Well, a problem. So to talk about like NA mids and stuff like that, the problem is that we have like these training camps, and they go in and they'll pull people into their teams.
Oh, academy.
And then they'll just sit them on academy, and they'll never leave academy.
Yeah.
Like they'll trade their main bench roster, and they'll like, we've got this academy team, and we're gonna do nothing but have them play academy.
I feel like NA, most teams in the LCS are too hesitant to actually play an academy player. And I get it, they're going to struggle at first. Honestly, as much as it may have cost them Worlds, I give some kudos to TSM for putting Spica in. Now, I don't like the reasoning they did so and why it happened, and we'll get into that eventually when we get to that matchup, but the fact that they are willing to fucking play an academy jungler when they think it's necessary, great. When we've seen Saligo played, when we've seen Yusui played, great. Fucking play your players, because it seems like the only goddamn team who gives a shit enough to try players who don't have a name already and haven't proven anything is Cloud9. And guess what? They go to Worlds every fucking year, They only rarely pull in a player from another team. Jensen, he wasn't on another team, but he came out of EU. Niski came from another team out of EU. Sven Skaren was because they had lost contracts. Like, contracts went to Golden Guardians. And Sven Skaren was considered a dead player at the time, basically. But we all, like, Licorice came out of nowhere. Blabber came, they brought Blabber, Licorice up. We know Kumo is in the wings as well. Keith had been on other teams previously.
Oh, okay. He's still good.
Yeah. And the same goes for Golden Glue. He had been on other teams. Zazel, like, all these players who you've never fucking heard of before, and some of them on other teams now. Wiggly? Like, guess what? It's because Cloud9 gave a shit and tried somebody. Smoothie. Like, all these players. Like, if more teams actually put tons of effort into their fucking training, into bringing up new players in NA, we would have more really good NA players. And I feel like Fox kind of was that with DeMonte, and I think they also a little bit just struck gold. And then it was so weird to see early this season, like, so many people saying, like, DeMonte wasn't very good. And you've heard me the whole time. I've been on DeMonte's train. Whole time. And now Dignitas, like, puts faith in him, and oh shit, like, fuck, he's top 3 mid in NA.
Good.
Like, or I should say top 4. Because you've got Niski, Bjergsen, Jensen, and DeMonte.
Sure.
I have a hard time making an argument for anyone else in there, even Froggen.
Yeah.
Like, there's a gap all of a sudden. And yeah, like, fuck. Like, just other teams need to do that. And FlyQuest hopefully will fucking do some of that. I'm with you on that. No idea. So should we move on to the CLG game?
Yes.
Because CLG, everyone felt like CLG versus Clutch was going to technically decide the winner. And it did. But not as easily as we thought. No. So CLG got a game as well.
Very disheartening.
However, they didn't get that game until game 3. They were up against it. CLG had such a good season that just didn't fucking pan out. I shouldn't say season. Such a good split.
There you go.
They were fucking second. Most of the split. Tied for first sometimes. Tied for third. They ended up third off a tiebreaker.
They kind of fell apart at the end. Like, I mean, and it's not to say that they fell apart completely, but they just couldn't keep, like, that level of play up there for as long as they did. Like,
I was gonna say, like, they beat Clutch in the playoffs to get third. Like, it came down literally to just Gauntlet.
Yeah.
So, like, when we're looking at those potential 5 games, like, go ahead.
CLG, they looked really good all the way up until just a couple weeks ago when they beat Clutch. And to see Clutch make the run, oh my gosh. I feel really bad for CLG because I was gunning for them too if I didn't already have, like, a prior, like, I want to see Clutch win. Because CLG, I feel like they deserved it. They played so well for longer this split. Like, Clutch just kind of kicked it into overgear, or, like, overdrive at, like, the very end of the split. And they just kind of, like, past everyone else.
Yeah.
But, like, if it comes down to who I think is better, I think CLG should have made it. Or at least got to play TSM. But things, like, they just kind of fell apart at the end here.
Can we have a new map where all 3 teams play at the same time? And, like, Battle Royale.
Don't you dare say that.
Battle Royale! I'm saying it, like, from the movie Accepted, though. Where it just comes out of nowhere.
Accepted? I don't know that one.
Accepted. It's a good movie.
It's like Wanted.
Yeah. Except not at all.
Okay. I don't know anything about it.
I'll lend you a copy.
All right.
A fake community college.
Fake college, but yeah.
Oh, fake college.
Battle Royale.
Is it anything like Battle Royale? The actual Battle Royale where they kill people?
It's a, like, comedy movie.
Okay, never mind.
It's a college comedy movie.
Never mind. We'll come back to that. Remind me. Do you have a pen?
Always. There's one in that drawer.
Okay.
But yeah, CLG, I was with you. Like, I think we all predicted CLG to win. Or, no, you predicted Clutch.
I did predict Clutch to win.
Yeah, and I predicted CLG. Like, honestly, I thought they were just the slightly better team. I mean, when it came down to it, Huni was on point, and Ruin, he's not a Huni player by any means. And I wouldn't even say he's feast or famine. Like, I feel like he brings something to the team that's positive, but he definitely also brings some, like, troubles to the team.
Yes. Well, I think he just holds the line, basically. He doesn't win his lane. And against Huni, that's like an even more challenge.
Against
just
good Huni.
Just to hold the line. line. So he was up against an unstoppable force, and we'll come back to it, but I know where my thoughts stand on where they lost.
Yeah. Well, and like if I jump to their bottom lane, like I've been critical of Stixxay continuously.
Cody's son just dominated on Stixxay, and that's all it comes down to.
And I think
like they just ADC beat the ADC.
I think Biofrost has been very good this year. I think Vulcan's quite good.
Yes.
I don't think he's as good as Biofrost, but like as much as Stixxay's performed, I said it earlier in the season, I feel like CLG's better when they put their faith into Wiggly Power of Evil, and then a little
Wiggly
bit
didn't play that well, to be honest.
Yep, and Power of Evil playing mid against Demonte, who has completely come into his own, and then something I've been wanting to say this whole episode so far: Lyra in the jungle. I've been super critical of him for a long time. I'm not saying that he's just amazing, whatever. I think he has a lot of what Chase mentioned earlier with Huni. The team around him is suddenly playing very well. And he has found the ability to shine again based around that. Because I don't even feel like Lyra was playing that great until playoffs. And he was all right then. And then in the Gauntlet, he showed the fuck up. Lyra was so good in the Gauntlet. Out of nowhere, it felt like. Like, there's this build to it. But from what he had been most of the season, and then all of a sudden, like, he was out playing Wiggly.
Yeah.
Like, Wiggly looked bad against Svenskeren when they played Cloud9, but big deal, he's fucking MVP. But then Lyra, like, he was better than Lyra when they faced off in the playoffs for the third place match. But then when they faced off in the Gauntlet, it was Lyra. Like, he has found his rhythm in that team, and that's scary, because I know neither of you remember, because it was 2 fucking years ago, but when he was on Envy, he was one of the best players in the entire league. He was solo carrying that team.
Because I was on the Lyra bandwagon in Spring Split, man.
YouTube
Not
search
like hugely, but I like
it. YouTube search some of those VODs, like the teams envy us, but like Envy. But yeah, like Envy was so good on the back of Lyra, just fucking people up. He was everywhere all the time. He was making big plays. And I saw, kind of in the same vein of Huni, I didn't see all of that again, but I saw glimmers of it. And I saw a pretty solid base right below it. And as much as usually a team coming in from the Gauntlet, unless it's Cloud9, which it's always been Cloud9, I guess, but like a team coming in from the bottom, like you usually don't have a whole lot of faith in it, because it's like, well, you barely squeaked in. These glimmers from Huni, from Demonte, from Lyra now, and Cody's son, like, everyone's fucking firing right now. And it's fun to watch. I know
it is. Like, I have to admit, it is. Even when my teams are losing and I'm mad at Clutch, they're still a good team to watch.
Yeah.
So Alan said that Stixxay plays way too passive. I feel like it wasn't just Stixxay playing very passive. Like, all of CLG was playing very reactive. Like, they weren't really trying to make plays. They were kind of just like, what are you guys going to do? And we're going to try to counter that. And then they would make, like, Clutch would make plays. CLG would be like, oh shit, we did not get that dragon. we did not get that Baron. Yeah. We did not get whatever. And it just like every single like 30 seconds it was like Clutch was taking some sort of objective, CLG wasn't answering, and then they just kind of like quietly lost.
Yeah. And to talk heavily about CLG, because I mean this is their exodus here. I don't think any of us feel like that team needs to make a big change.
No.
At all.
No.
It's not a FlyQuest situation. You got fucking third. Yeah. Like, you just missed playoffs because your first split was garbage. That sucks. Great. This team, keep it, move forward. But what you said is really poignant, because the way they got third during the season was being pretty aggressive and playing proactively.
It was very surprising to see them taking a completely opposite take on how CG, like against CG.
It seems like they weren't taking Clutch seriously. Like, I feel like they thought that they could just stomp them if, like, I feel like they assumed that Clutch was going to make a mistake and they were going to capitalize on it. They were going to pull a classic TL, wait for you to do something silly, and then we're gonna pounce on you. And Clutch didn't really make all that many mistakes, and the mistakes that they did make, for the most part, they were able to like clean up after themselves very quickly.
Yeah.
Like, there were a lot of like really bad engages on Clutch's part, and then somehow things like slowly went their way.
Well, I think it's because if you're not a counterattack team like TL is, then you don't react the same way, and you don't react quick enough. Like, CLG most of the season has been playing proactively, and they played proactively even somewhat still against Clutch in the playoffs. On it, I feel like in some ways, Cloud9 broke CLG. Because Cloud9 is more proactive than they are. And Cloud9 kind of dumpstered them. Like, it was 3-1, but it wasn't a very close 3-1. Like, I talked about the Wiggly. Like, Wiggly looked kind of broken in that game, because, like, Spencer Garrett, MVP. Like, so, like, that happened, and while Cloud9's bot lane isn't, like, oppressive, they still beat them down. And then they went up against Kurtis, who likes to play aggressively, and so while they hung back a little bit, but didn't hang back all the way in the game against Clutch for third, maybe they thought, okay, well, yeah, if we hang back even farther, we'll work even better, because they're also aggressive, whereas Clutch is leaning more into the aggression.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm glad they won, because I'd rather see the aggression at Worlds, but also if CLG had leaned back into the aggression,
Maybe
I would... Yeah, maybe they would have fucking won.
They did. I noticed that too. They did play more passively. Like Wiggly needs to be ganking like at minute fucking 3 and 4 to make that early aggression happen, and he wasn't. And I don't think Lyra is that kind of jungler either. Like he's mostly like let's farm, let's steal.
Against
jump,
TSM, he did
dragons.
do a blue buff Jarvan level
That's
2
true,
gank mid, which is like, wait, red buff is how Jarvan ganks at level 2. Blue buff, fuck it, let's do it anyway. Like.
Lyra definitely out-jungled, and that's weird to say when it's against Wiggly, because I definitely thought Wiggly would have been the more powerful jungler.
He's been very good this split. I think just going into next year, I hope that CLG's management reviews the season and just goes, guys, we had more success when we're aggressive, we're going to double down on that. And I think Worlds, if it goes similar to the way it did last year, and especially the way MSI did this year, I mean, granted, TL played with some aggression and beat IG, who seemed to be hanging back, oddly enough. But, like, we've seen these aggressive teams have more and more and more success, regardless of how many big names they have on it. And, like, granted, G2 is stocked as fuck with giant names, but their aggression also is, like, blowing people out. But we've seen it from the low level of, like, Vietnamese teams. Like, oh, they've got no-name players, and then they fucking win a bunch of games. Like, I think if the trend of League of Legends keeps leaning towards aggressiveness, and I think Riot Balance will also help that happen, because they like it, they know the fans like it. Of course you do. It's like NFL football, where it's like, oh yeah, every team scores every fucking drive. Like, that's gone too far, of course, but, you know.
If we're going to talk about football, you have to give a shout out to the Cowboys, taking down the Giants. Fuck you, Giants.
Did the Cowboys, I like the Cowboys, I didn't even watch.
Sorry,
like, I had no idea.
tonight, actually.
Ooh,
Yeah.
there you go.
We're gonna lose.
Probably. So I think though that the game is leaning towards aggression. I think we're seeing that in these qualifications. Unless you're like in a completely stacked fucking team like TL, you can win without aggression. But even when they do show aggression, they look better. Like MSI, Xfinity also was super fucking aggressive. It's like, yay.
Yeah.
But I want to see CLG redouble their efforts, go back into aggression, and hopefully we see the same team next year, just looking more like beginning of summer split CLG.
I'd really like to see them not make any dramatic changes, because they've got a really good squad right now. If they make a bunch of changes, I think it's only going to hurt them.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe only top lane with Ruin. And that's only because, again, he only sustains.
I think he could get
with
better.
That's fine. Like, I just don't want them to be like, okay, we're going to gut the team.
Yes. Even if they keep Ruin, I'm still okay with it. Yeah. Like, the only change I think they can make is Ruin.
I think they could make Ruin better still.
Yes.
And so, like, I feel like Ruin or Stixay would be the people you replace, because I'm not sure if Stixay has it in him to be aggressive without being stupid.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, that's the hallmark of a lot of players. Like, Wild Turtle's the same thing. Can you be aggressive without being stupid?
Well,
nope.
it involves an amount of stupidity to go in like that, but sometimes it works.
Right, but you gotta...
He showed up with a bowl cut. Like, I mean...
I don't know why!
His
why.
life choice making ability, like, I lost all faith in him with that bowl cut.
I understand getting a haircut, because everybody gets haircuts. He should have just shaved his fucking head.
There's no beating that right there. Is the example of aggression without stupidity. So let's move it on. Oh, well done. Let's go to TSM.
I'll drink to that.
So TSM and Clutch. This one finally went to 5 games.
Yes, it
And in fact, TSM won the first 2 games.
They did.
And then somebody fell asleep.
I did.
Thinking it was in the
I
bag.
did. And then I come back, and then Clutch had won.
You were so pissed because you wanted revenge for
salty.
CLG.
I did.
You've gotten over it
But
now.
honestly, I've gotten over it now because again, CG going to Worlds is far better than TSM going to Worlds. And TSM, if they lost after winning 2 in a row, they definitely didn't deserve it. So.
Right. So really fun thing during the CLG series, or like interviews afterwards.
Yeah.
It came up that Clutch had won game 1 and 2. They lost game 3, and they had been reverse swept by TL, I believe it was, right? Did they win game 1-2 against TL? TL or CLG? But in the playoffs, they got reverse swept, right? Yeah. And one of their coaching staff said to them, I think it was the head coach, said
during the first game.
Well, he said to them after CLG won game 3, he's like, "Don't worry about it. Everyone gets reverse swept once in your life. It's a thing that happens only once in your career. And you've already had it happen, so you've got this."
Yeah.
And then they beat CLG. And then, so after the TSM, because they reverse swept TSM, I saw so much shit in the chat because TSM got reverse swept by TL in the finals last split, going, reverse sweep is something that only happens to you once in your career.
So what I'm talking about is something different, though. In the first game, Avali, I think maybe it was Avali, someone interviewed the coach of TSM.
Okay, that's when it got...
This is major, in my opinion. He's like, we scrimmed them once and beat them so bad that we didn't scrim them again.
Canceled. They didn't just not scrim them again. They had scrims scheduled and canceled them.
Yeah. That makes me feel really good because
I'll agree with
Clutch,
that, yeah.
they said, like, we're really glad we beat them because we felt really disrespected when they didn't want to scrim us.
Yep.
It's like,
hell yeah.
Go fuck yourself. Like, you deserve getting shat on.
Yeah,
100%.
Like, if TSM said the reason they canceled scrims was because you don't want to show strats, full respect, it makes sense. That's you respecting your opponent, saying, we were pretty sure they were going to beat CLG.
Yeah.
They're going to make it through. We don't want to show them what we're doing. But no, their coach said, we decided to scrim our academy team because we thought it was better practice.
Yeah.
Dude, your academy team featuring 2 of your junglers that you can't play right now because one of them doesn't get along with your AD carry, supposedly, and the other one you don't think is good enough? Okay, yeah, that's great fucking practice. Like,
no, 100%. I think that's hilarious that TSM lost.
Yes. This is why I kind of came around to it, because I watched that first game, which is the only really... I'm not gonna lie, I'm sorry guys. I dropped the ball on this past game really hard. But I watched the first game, TSM won very handily. I saw that interview, and then I woke up and I came back to it, and I was like, I was gonna start game 2, and then I noticed on the YouTube bar that it had a long way to go, and I was like, well, fuck, did they actually go to...
Yeah.
I was like, did they actually go to 5? So I'm kind of like skipping through it, and I'm like, well, shit, they're up 2-2, and I'm like, fuck it, let's just go to the last game. I started watching the last game, and then I'm like, you know what? I can't even deal with this right now. I see
my heart was going insane. Like I about had a heart attack watching Game 5. Like I didn't even watch. So I'd watched all of Friday and Saturday's matches on Sunday while those matches were happening. Like I finished right as Game 5
So you're already on a high because they went 3-1 and they went 3-1 again. You're like, oh god.
Yeah, and so like I'm starting to watch this. I was like, I really want Clutch to win. I don't think they're going to, because any team that I like usually just gets fucking trounced. And like, so I was watching and I was like, don't get too excited, they're gonna lose. Don't get too excited, they're gonna lose. Don't get too excited, they're gonna lose. What the fuck? Ah!
Oh, it was just so surprising. But like, as I was watching that like 5th game, kind of like, you know, skipping to the parts towards the end when they got the Baron, Speaker was like, let me try. Nah, man, sorry, we're gonna AC take the Baron and just we're gonna win. And I'm like, I think back to that very few minute interview, and I'm like, wow, TSM, like, I even read it on Reddit like, afterwards, they were ragging. I'm like, that's just shitty, man, to say that and to have done that. You really should have practiced against CG. CG is like a unique team, and different kind of play style. They will force that freaking Rift Herald
and Demonte. They're not people that you should really, like...
disrespect?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not in their current fucking form.
And Codyson too.
We saw
like, the entire block time.
Funi, Demonte, Codyson, like they are in prime form right now.
And Lyra's looking Lyra's playing hot off of it. Vulcan is very quietly making all the right decisions most games. Like some games he's had like
that's inevitable.
It popped up on Reddit. Like
though.
he had one bad game against CLG, and somebody like the game they lost against CLG, and somebody made a thread like, "Is Vulcan the worst?" Or like something about like Vulcan's the worst support in the league, and I'm immediately like, "Have you never watched Big play?" Like, I mean, granted, I probably shit on Big more than he deserves, yeah. But like,
but it's funny.
And the guy was coming from a point of like, oh, Cody Sun's just carry is because Cody Sun's so good. It's like, no, everyone has seen a good AD carry play with a bad support and see how badly that affects them, and vice versa. Like, you need both in a duo lane to be good, to be any good at all.
Double Lift wouldn't be as good as he is right now if it wasn't for JJ, I'll say that.
Yeah, they had some struggles when he had Ole, and Ole's not bad by any means.
Yeah.
Like, you need both to be at least a certain level. So to be like, oh, does he have the worst support in the league? No, because they wouldn't be in fucking playoffs if he's the worst support in the league.
Yeah.
Like, he would int away the lane. But yeah, I think TSM, kudos to them for even getting the 2 games.
Yeah.
Being really close in game 3 and 4 as well. Like, they had close games. Like, they won games on tiny things. Game 2 when they won, it was off winning a fight that was poorly taken by Clutch and having 1 minion at half health so they could break down the backdoor bonus. You guys saw that?
No, I didn't. But
they had
good to know.
So the minions were clashing in the middle of mid, like at River.
Yeah.
This fight happened up towards TSM side, like between tier 1 and 2, right? That jungle path between. And TSM wins it, and they have 3 people left. And the minions are dying or whatever, and like they come in, they finish the wave off, and there's 1 minion at fucking half health. And so they're able to escort it to the inhib tower.
Yeah.
And kill the inhib tower, because backdoor bonus is gone. And like Sejuani just takes the turret. They kill the inhib. They're able to kill the spawning minions and take fucking Nexus turrets and Nexus. Like, because if the backdoor bonus is up, you probably still get inhib, but there's no way you get through that turret and still have enough time to get through inhib turrets without fucking, the backdoor bonus being gone. Like, it was so important that a fucking half-health minion, and Clutch did the same thing, though, like, I mean, not with a half-health minion, but, like, where they won a fight and then just fucking, like, ran through the base, and it's like, oh, okay, that just ended, neat.
Yeah. They were
Game 5,
very, very
TSM
decisive.
had the no, that was CLG or was it TSM, where they had the fucking Baron and, like, lose a goddamn fight, and then Clutch won on it?
They got wiped with Baron buffer pretty
Was that
close
TSM
to
Game
wipe.
5? I don't know. It was one of the games. But TSM though overall, I think Speak is a good jungler. I think they have a future with him. Like I don't. He's played fucking what? He's played the postseason. He's played 9 games and plus the last week of LCS, so 11 games. In over 11 games, they've gone 4-7 with him. During that time, they got a win over FlyQuest. Great. Lost to TL. And then lost to Clutch in 4.
And to be fair, 11 games is like half a
And then
split
Clutch
worth
to
of
5.
matches. Like that's getting some really good stage
it is.
time.
And
I think he's going to be,
and after,
up and coming after this. Like,
after half a split to lose in 5 to a team going to Worlds, not so bad.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was getting like run around by Lyra. He was making good plays himself, even though Lyra was looking better.
Saw 1 game, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, games 1 and 2, like TSM, like handedly won.
Yeah.
Like
game 2 when they ganked bot over and over, he was playing that so well.
Yeah, it was very, very depressing watching that. I was like, oh, you just got destroyed. Oh, it happened 30 seconds later. Oof.
Yeah.
Not great.
I have nothing against Speaker personally, but yeah.
No, I don't either. I think that
the decision to put him in was ill-advised. I think if Acadian was in, they make it to Worlds.
I don't know about that.
If they played Acadian through the end of the season through
they played
playoffs,
the disrespect. I think they played Spica out of disrespect.
To what?
And DeMonte said in the post-game interview that he wanted to beat TSM for his boy Acadian.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I saw that.
There is a lot of mumbling talk that basically says Acadian and Sven were having disagreements, and the coaching staff benched Acadian because of it.
If I was Vin, I'd have fucking disagreements too. I'm sorry. I like Acadian. I do. I think he's nice. I think he's cute. I think he's a decent jungler.
He is cute.
But you don't pick up the Rift. you fucking summon it in a dumbass place and get it, interrupted, and you fucking back when you're only 5-1 on the team when you could backdoor instead. And I'm just like, these are basic jungling.
Oh yeah, he makes some big errors. But I've also seen Sven make some huge fucking errors too. They missed. Was it Worlds last year or was it last split that he fucking on Ezreal gets like Skarner ulted?
It's funny because it's
fucking
Ezreal
alone.
Too.
Yeah. Okay, so that was just last split then.
It was just last split. He was.
It was like the fuck are you like? And he was alone, and he could have ran right away, and he just like stood there and like shot a Q like.
So I can see why the discord between those two would happen.
Because they're both kind of stupid and kind of good.
Yes. What's the word when you're conceited? Conceited. They're both kind of good and conceited, and especially Sven. And he's like, "Hey, you fucking make these mistakes." And then Katie's like, "Well, you fucking make these mistakes, man." Yeah. And they're just like, "Nah, I don't make any mistakes. I'm perfect."
That's and what bothers me though is, as a coaching and management staff, your job is not to just let one player win that, because that doesn't fix anything.
Yes.
You fucking get them to come to an agreement, or if one of them can come to just deal with each other, or if one can't and the other one's willing to, then you make that decision. But it doesn't seem like it was the case that like Acadian wasn't okay with things and Sven was.
Acadian got taken off of the TSM page.
Yeah, he did. He's not there.
There's only 9 listed. Yeah,
there's not even 9 listed. There's like 6 listed.
How many are listed total there?
7. 2, 4, 6, 7.
Oh shit, yeah. So they dropped him entirely apparently. Do they still have Greg even? No, it looks like they dropped. Oh no, because that would just be their playoff roster. You're only allowed to bring 7 into playoffs. That's why.
Yeah, but Acadian not being brought, like it's
no, they didn't bring Acadian or Greg. We talked about it during playoffs.
Well, they're not even going, so it doesn't matter.
Right, no.
Worlds anyway.
Worlds, you're only allowed to take 6.
Oh shit. Yeah, they
playoffs, you can only take 7. They didn't take either of their jugglers. They brought treats and tactical.
Didn't realize that they would keep this updated for like what's currently happening versus like what the typical roster is.
Surprising considering how a
slow
lot of that
they
website
update everything else up. Yeah.
Well, they update the rosters pretty quick, but to drop it down to the 7 is surprising to me too.
TSM's a hard team to analyze because apparently, and I've only got this season to really reflect on, they always have jungler issues. And I mean,
it's because they like to neuter them.
It's a management issue.
Well, when you play, like, okay, so sidetrack for just a bit. I was in a game and I was obviously mid already, and the jungler and the top were having some scuffle over frickin' Rift, and we get it, but they die, so they don't pick it up. And the Swain on my team was like walking away from it. I'm like, fuck, I can't type. Like, I have not undone that typing restriction.
Good.
It's been a blessing.
Did you ping it a bunch?
Yeah, I'm like, fucking get the thing. He starts walking away. I'm like, get the fucking thing. So I'm like, I have to like try and walk over there. I die trying to get it. After the game, because I can't type in the game, I'm like, you son of a bitch Acadian.
You call him Acadian?
And I was like, it's the worst insult I can think of. And I'm like, just get the fucking Rift. I don't care if you die. He was going to die anyways. You could have at least picked it up.
I don't think it was when we did Clash. I think it was when I was just playing the game with Jeff or someone the other day. Yeah, because I didn't play... Or did I play jungle when we played Clash?
No, you were ADC, I think.
Okay. But yeah, I was playing jungle. I think I was just playing with Jeff then. And, like, totally, like, soloed the Rift Herald at one point, blah, blah, and then quick went and, like, assisted something mid, blah, blah, and then it was, like, 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh, this is perfect time to drop. Oh, shit, I never picked it up. Like, and I'm not a jungler, so I feel like I have more of an excuse. Yeah, I feel like I have more of an excuse. I was like Jarvan, and I was like,
okay.
I was out to an early. I was like 3-0-5 or some shit. Like I was off fucking wrecking people, and I was like, oh, I'll pick up Rift Herald. I went mid, helped like get another kill, and went back to base. And then like it was like 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna drop the Rift here to get tier 2.
I can't talk because I know that I picked it up in a game within my last 10 games, and I forgot to drop it ever, so I wasted it.
Okay, forgetting to drop it is one thing. I didn't even fucking pick it up.
That's more of a problem. Anyways, we're going to there's a hard team to analyze because they've got, a ADC who, butts heads with fucking everyone if they make a mistake. Bjergsen, who's a top tier mid, who just doesn't even want to fucking play, in my opinion, right now. Like,
he might have done the Huni checkout thing a little bit. I don't think so because I feel like he played well still.
Okay.
So
I didn't see all
so here's the thing with CLG, we don't want them to make any changes. With FlyQuest, we're like saying make changes. With TSM, I don't think it's a question of should you make changes? I think stuff is going to happen because Sven or Bjergsen, I think less so him. My personal instinct is that Bjergsen probably stays. He's been with TSM almost his entire career. I think they're pretty synonymous, and I think the paycheck is fat, and he's more than happy to be TSM his whole career. And I'm okay with that. But I very much doubt Sven comes back.
He's out.
Do you think he goes EU again, or do you think he
would
tries to float around?
I think he would go back to EU. And the reasoning behind that is somebody on Reddit said it, and I actually really agree. People who watch EU, especially EU staffs and such, discount NA by a wide margin. Mm-hmm. And you get that impression. Like, and granted, a lot of it's banter and shit, but when you look at the banter from NA towards EU and then EU towards NA, it's very obvious that they actually think of NA as, like, not even LMS good, or maybe that good.
I think that's so sad.
Which is ridiculous.
So sad.
Like, granted, TSM, TL, Immortals, like, the top team from NA going into Worlds has repeatedly choked, but Cloud9 always shows the fuck up. And we even saw MSI. Like, yeah, TL got swept really quickly in the finals, but they took down IG, so fucking G2 didn't have to face IG.
Yeah.
Do I think IG still wins that? Probably. But there's no fucking promise.
Yeah, that's
I think
like
G2 is just so on fucking point. Like, I feel, and I understand, like, the hubris there. And I looked a little bit, I didn't think Fnatic was up to point until here right at the end of the season, and they took G2 to 5 games. And I think Fnatic's looking really good right now, so I think EU's looking set really well for Worlds. Yeah. And I saw in the chat earlier, like, Alan said, like, oh, EU set really well for Worlds. I wish I could say the same for NA, or I don't think so for NA. And I disagree. Well, I'm drinking the...
This one's prettiest.
Is that one? Sea Quench? Oh, yeah, I'll take a session sour. Fuck it. But, yeah, I think, like, EU looks good with G2 and Fnatic. Great. I don't know what the third team's going to be, and we'll see. Like, it's probably going to be Schalke, and we'll see. But... I don't feel bad about NA at all.
I don't either.
TL's a really good team. Cloud9's looking really good, and honestly, like, this team's really young yet compared to most other teams. Yeah. Like, Licorice, this is literally his second season. Same for Zazel. Niski had been in EU, I think, for 2 seasons, but, like, now he's getting, more experience this first season on this team, and he's only gotten better as the season's gone on. Like, the one veteran they had, or the 2 veterans they have are Sven and Sneaky, who are both playing really well. Sneaky just kind of very understated because it's Sneaky, and he always seems to world buff and all of a sudden, like, wreck people in lane. And you're like, where did this Sneaky come from? It's like, oh, he's actually really good. He's just generally hanging back because it's against double lift and shit. But yeah, like, I think those 2 teams are very good, and I think Clutch is looking fucking on point right now. I don't think you take Huni, Damonte, Cody Sun lightly, especially now that Lyra seems to have his confidence back. Like, and so back to the point, though, off of that, EU doesn't see NA that way. Because I'm seeing all these EU comments, of EU viewers or former players and stuff being like, NA looks going into Worlds, even before, like, Clutch came in, like, everybody discounts Clutch right away, too. Even NA fans will discount Clutch. So I think Sven, despite his poor performance in NA, can go back to EU and everybody will just say, well, it's because NA players are bad. It didn't have anything to do with Sven, and he can get onto a good squad and be paid well.
I'm going to play that clip every time someone talks about Zenvi and amazing.
Yeah, like, I don't think he's a bad fucking player, but I don't think, like, when he was winning multiple championships on G2, it was because the best in EU are good and the worst are terrible. I say it every fucking season, and it's still true. Like, Fox and FlyQuest were EU levels of bad this year. Like, the bottom of EU is always hot fucking garbage.
The bottom,
and that's why the top also, like, and the top is very good. The top is slightly better than NA, but the bottom is easily worse than NA, I feel like. I feel like NA is a more competitive region overall. And so, like, yeah, when you're fucking winning constantly on G2, it's like, well, yeah, because, it's, can you beat Fnatic? Okay, they're very good, and you managed to beat them 3-4 times, whatever. Super important, but that's the same as, like, TL. Can you beat Cloud9 and TSM 4 times in a row? You did? Congrats. Go on. Oh, that also included TSM fucking chilling off players to you, and Cloud9 benching part of their fucking roster. Like, yeah, like, I feel like NA is so overlooked for fucking EU. But yeah, I think he'll go back to EU personally. And I don't know who I don't know who the fuck TSM would pick up in that stead.
Who they got Broken Blade?
They got Broken Blade top, so that's an import slot.
I'm real surprised that they didn't at least give more of a chance.
Bjergsen's not an import anymore, so they have an import. I mean, because Sven's an import. I bet they just fucking import another bot laner. Yeah. I fully expect that.
What if they pick up...
Yeah, I mean, it'd be something you don't expect. It's always what it is when it comes to... No.
C9
Keith's not good enough, unfortunately.
What?
And Keith isn't with C9 anymore.
Oh, did he?
They traded him with Deftly to Golden Guardians.
Right.
I still think that we're gonna see Keith next split.
I hope
for
so.
Golden Guardians.
He looked great as an ADC.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Who's starting for them right now? Oh, FBI. That's right. I think it's possible. I don't think it's for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I would like to see it happen. Like, I mean, no disrespect towards FBI, but I'd like to see what comes off of Cloud9's bench, because it's usually pretty damn good. Yeah,
I mean, I think he obviously did well on their bench. I'm sure just in the off season, FBI and Keith are going to compete for that spot, and the team, if they think one is definitely the best, they'll play that one. If they think it's close, they'll play like one week, one the next, or something like that. We'll see. All right, so TSM, we're done with them.
Yeah.
Clutch.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Just, I'm like 90% on that.
What? Perks?
Umajan?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I think they call perks Umajan.
I
don't know. I see
no
it on
idea.
Reddit. Okay, I'm gonna have to Google this.
Don't even fucking know. I don't pay.
You didn't see that freaking hilarious ass G2.
I don't pay attention to Reddit.
Perks
either.
I'm gonna have to link that there.
Perks Umajan.
It's Umajan.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Umajan.
Just making sure. Thanks.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
I don't know what it means either.
Like I said, that's what I was confirming because it just hit my head.
But yeah, okay. So Clutch though. I mean, we've already just discussed Huni's looking great again. Damonte's looking really good right now. Lyra's back in form. Kurtis' been doing well. Like, their aggression seems to be a good thing going forward. Other thoughts on this team heading into Worlds or not?
I'm really excited to see where things go. I'm really excited for Dignitas. Like, I really hope they make it out of groups. Or I'm sorry, I really hope they make it out of play-ins. I don't fully expect them to make it out of groups, though.
Yeah. So we'll do the breakdown here because this is what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we have all of our. So there's groups and there's play-ins, and there's first and second pool for both. Groups is for groups of 4. Play-ins is for groups of 3.
Wow.
Yeah. So China, Korea, Europe, and North America are all sending one team for the first pool. So that is Fun Plus Phoenix from China, SKT from Korea, G2 from Europe, and Liquid from NA. Mm-hmm. So those 4 will be drawn into ABCD. Then they will start drawing the pool 2 teams. And the 4th slot in every group will be blank still. So from China, since they have been the best team over the past 2 years, or the best region over the past 2 years, they get both their second and third team immediately into groups. So that is Royal Never Give Up, RNG, and IG Invictus Gaming.
That's just because they won last year, right?
They have a billion,
it's
people in their country to pull from. Like, they should be the best region.
Fair.
And they are the most popular right now. Their second league is very big. They have, like how we have a 10-team league. I believe they have a 16-team league.
Are you serious?
They have more teams.
Wow.
Some of their teams have their own fucking stadium. The teams actually travel around to play each other.
Holy shit, I didn't even know that. That's
intense. It is the largest region.
They have like a billion.
So you know how like
it's
in the
largest
US
region
we
by
have puppy mills? They've got like league mills over there. Like when kids hit like 8 years old, they're like, okay, you're gonna go to boot camp.
Uzi's original nickname was Puppy.
Was it really? Wow.
Okay, well that's something I didn't know, and it kind of fits my joke.
But no, they have the largest player base too. Like,
RNG.
Like NA is a very small player base. We have half of what Europe has. You know, like things like that. But yeah, so RNG and IG will be drawn into groups as well. So the rules with Worlds, if you're not familiar, you cannot be in a group with another team from your region. So say Fun Plus Phoenix gets drawn into Group B, RNG and Invictus can only be in Group A, C, and D, and not together in either of those groups. So you will always have, like
China in all of them, basically, or
all but one, exactly. And the same goes for Korea, Europe, NA, and the LMS, which is Southeast Asia, or it's not Southeast Asia. It's Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. So it's right there at the corner of China, and that's it.
Not actually China.
Not China. Well, except Hong Kong, kind of China. Well, China owns it.
Yeah.
Not even going to get into politics beyond that, but yes, it was given back by the British, 10 years ago? Something like that. Anyway.
I don't know.
Yeah. So then from the LCK, we have, as their second team that's guaranteed into groups, is Griffin. Very young team, was considered the best team last year and somehow missed Worlds. So they'll be exciting to see.
What, they rebranded Samsung?
No,
that's Genji.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Getting my teams mixed up.
No. Griffin is kind of what Kingzone was 2 years ago, where it's like, man, this is a really good fucking team. Except Kingzone made it right away, whereas Griffin missed last year. And then Griffin made it this year, so it'll be exciting to see them. Yeah. Because they're a young team, but they're still like a second team. Yeah, absolutely. And they did last year too. They just didn't fucking make it. Then from Europe, Fnatic. Now Fnatic's not guaranteed to make it into groups yet. They are the Gauntlet boss because, as I mentioned, like an episode or two ago, Europe's doing it differently. Yeah. Just G2's guaranteed the first spot. Now Fnatic is the Gauntlet boss, and if they win, they get second seed, which means they go into the group stage. If they lose, they get third seed. And they'll go into play-ins.
Who are they up against? Do we know?
We don't know because the Gauntlet is next weekend
yet.
for that.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's probably going to be Schalke.
That's what you're
Schalke
saying.
no Fear. SO4. Schalke no Fear. But yeah. So from LCS, obviously, we know we have Cloud9 going to the group stage. Then the other two group teams that we know are both coming from the LMS. They are considered the bottom of the 5 major regions. I'm sorry, no, there's 3 more. There's LMS gets 2, and then Vietnam gets 1. From the LMS, once again, it's Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau. J-Team, who was there last year, they were the play-in team? No.
If they were in play-ins, I really am
they weren't.
Don't remember that.
No. So Flash Wolves and J-Team made it in last year. J-Team and AHQ.
If you didn't have dinosaurs as your theme, I didn't pay attention to them.
And oddly enough, G-Rex did not make it this year.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
Hong Kong Attitude, who you probably remember from 2 years ago, is going to be the playing team. But yeah, so J-Team and AHQ will be in the group stage. Vietnam, we have yet to see. So now we go into the play-ins. And like each of those groups, like I said, they have an empty spot at the bottom. The winners of play-ins make it to those 4 spots.
Nice.
So, in play-ins, you end up with 4 groups of 3.
Yeah.
So we have from the major regions, Damwon Gaming coming from Korea. And they're a good team. Clutch coming from NA. We don't know Europe's yet. And from the LMS, Hong Kong Attitude, as I mentioned previously. Those will be the number 1 seeds, like in those groups below. And then from the minor regions, so far we know Flamengo Esports coming from Brazil. They were the team who was expected to make it to MSI, but then INTZ upset them, and a bunch of Brazilian fans were upset because they're like, we're sending the worst team. Not the worst, but the worst of the two.
So they had a Shark as their INTZ? Was that
No.
right?
Nope, that was
Shark.
Vega and Invictus.
Yes.
Speaking of which, Invictus is the Latin American representative again.
Isurus, you mean?
Isurus.
I was like, Invictus is
Invictus is LPL China.
Yeah.
Isurus is one of the Shark teams. Yeah. They are coming from Latin America again. From the OPL, which is Oceania, we are not seeing the Chiefs. We are not seeing the Bombers. We are seeing Mammoth, a new fucking squad. They've never been to international competition before. I'd have to look to see if their players have. And then from Turkey, usually we get Supermassive or Fenerbahce.
1904.
This time we're getting Royal Youth. They beat, I believe... they beat Supermassive in the final. Fenerbahce did garbage in the split, but they also lost a bunch of players after the fucking MSI.
Yeah.
FBI,
lost 2, right?
Yeah, FBI and somebody else at least. So
Wasn't it what did in FBI?
No, what did came from EU.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Royal Youth. Now from LCL, which is Russia, Commonwealth of Independent States, so it's like Russia, Ukraine, Eastern Bloc countries. Yeah. We are going to get either... who was the team who made... we're either going to get... Oh my god, it's the other Shark team! What was the other Shark team's name? Vega. Yeah. We're either going to get Vega Esports or Unicorns of Love. Now, Unicorns of Love...
I haven't seen them yet.
Most people remember from Europe. It's not the same players or anything, but they're...
Xerxes or bust.
Yeah, when Unicorns of Love applied to be franchised in the LCL, they were denied, so they created a team in the LCL. So Unicorns of Love or Vega will make it from the LCL. They just have their championship coming up this weekend. From Japan, I do not recall who's left right there. And that's the LJL. And then, of course, the last one we have left is the LST, which is Southeast Asia. And I don't know who we're getting from that one either. But we have all those coming up here very soon. Honestly, I'm excited for Worlds. Group stage is obviously the main event. It's the real portion of Worlds. And you can generally expect all four. You can expect the LCK, the LEC, and the LCS teams to make it on. The LMS team, being Hong Kong Attitude, is the question mark. Do they make it on, or does another team beat them out? Because last year we got G-Rex to make it through. Actually, G-Rex might have been the LMS team. I don't recall.
Yeah,
this was a long time ago, and it's people that I really don't care about.
But yeah, so... Lucky. But yeah, so it's going to be fun. We've got 2 weeks off until our pre-play-ins show. This is our last one. We have next week off. We have the week after
so
that
we'll
off.
do a show for before the play-ins?
Yeah, so we'll have all the groups at that point.
Oh, cool.
So we'll know who's the groups minus the fourth person, and then we'll have we'll make all our predictions and stuff, because the next show will be after play-ins have already fucking finished. Yeah. Like play-ins happen like that. It's a fuck ton of games. And it's really quick, but like it happens in a week. I think it's just in 1 week. I'd have to look at my schedule of what I put down again.
I know it happens during the week, which is always bad for me.
All of Worlds does, except for the end of it all.
I'm excited.
So
I'm back to having interest in things now. Good job, guys.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Question mark?
So that does mean that we are not having loggers next week, but the week after we are not doing loggers, but we are doing an episode of Yeti Set Roll during the loggers.
Is that
time
confirmed?
Slot. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So for those of you who watch our D&D show,
scroll down, it's on the calendar. Boom.
Well, then I put it there, I guess.
I put it there.
Oh, you actually did an event. Oh, you put it here. You didn't do an event.
Put it on the schedule.
I don't fucking know what that.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, so if you're a D&D fan, then there'll be an episode of that here next week. You said next week or the next one?
September 23rd.
Okay, so next week's off period. It seems
next week is completely off.
So we're not coming
there
back
might
till
be
the 30th?
some Borderlands streamed then.
We could probably do some Borderlands streams.
Yeah.
I could probably make that happen.
Yeah, we can look into that. All right, but until then, I'm excited for Worlds. I mean, NA, EU. I think in general, across the major 4 regions, because LMS has always been kind of fighting to be 5th, and it's just a matter of how much does the top NA team choke to let LMS look better.
I'm real worried about that. Y'all have me on, no faith on this right now, the fact that NA is going to choke.
The top team from NA always chokes.
Yeah, and that's...
And by top team, you just mean TL always
No,
chokes.
TSM.
Okay.
TSM.
Well, they already choked out.
No, it was TSM, and then it was fucking Immortals. Although they didn't even come in as the top one. Yeah, and then TL.
And TL has
TSM
choked every time I've seen them play internationally.
TSM and TL have always choked on the international
Cloud9's the only one that is like, oh, we have Cloud9, thank God, because America looks terrible.
That is correct. So anyway, that is what we have coming up. Worlds, I'm excited for it. I think seeing the field across those 4 major regions, China, Korea, Europe, and North America, feels the closest it's ever been.
I'm excited.
Like last year, it felt like it was closing as things started, but yeah, like I'm excited for Worlds this season. Like just the fact that every season up until last season, it was like, oh well, Korea's gonna win, and then like as we head into it, we're like, well, maybe China will this time. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, fuck, Europe and Cloud9 are also in the semifinals, and Korea's already gone. Oh, God, what happened? and then based off MSI, where it's like, oh, it was an NA Europe final, and they beat China and Korea respectively to make it there. Like, yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Core JJ is going home with a new trophy.
Yeah. The aggressive meta is fun. It's gonna be great.
And then EU can't say shit.
If it goes, yeah.
Core JJ's like,
If NA were to win it, then EU can never talk shit. Like, but
I don't want to give you the finger.
I'm not gonna keep my fingers crossed on that shit.
I'm not even gonna try holding my breath because I will die.
No, I'm still waiting for Cloud9 to win another fucking regional title.
Yeah.
It's been 5 goddamn years.
Why win regionals when you can win the worlds?
Right. Well,
why bother with regionals?
Right before we end it, a friend of mine, big old TSM fucking fan, and it was just like 2 years ago where like he was talking shit about Cloud9 like losing a final to TSM or some shit. I'm like, whatever. I was like, oh no, we were heading into last season. And I'm like, whatever, like, Cloud9 at least does something at Worlds. He's like, oh, I didn't know they handed out fucking banners for, like, getting out of groups. And so, like, he was trying to be cocky. He's like, oh, TSM had 3 back-to-back-to-back championships at that point, and Cloud9 hadn't won recently. But yet, like, TSM always got dumpster in Worlds, so we were having a back and forth. And he went fucking radio silent the minute TSM had their worst goddamn back-to-back splits. And, like, didn't make finals, and didn't make Worlds, and he hasn't said shit in a long time. They missed Worlds again. It's like, bitch, my team's never missed Worlds. What up? But I think that does it for us here, episode 30.
I do want to shout out, if you see a little sticker right here, we are selling these. If you just scroll down, $3 a pop, support Yeti.
Oh, you got a link. Nice. Yeah. Help support us, help us do more shows, get the word out. We're trying to get our stuff a bit more advertised and get out there as we're looking into expanding our Smash stuff going into next year. And we have D&D started now, and we're doing a bunch of stuff. So
Yep, there's t-shirts down there too. I mean, you don't have to buy a t-shirt if you don't want to, but I mean, if you want to, that's great. Buy a sticker though, $3. Like, I mean, helps us. You get to get a cool Yeti sticker.
And pretty nice. I was happy with how they turned out for sure. And koozies will be coming soon as well. That way, all of our beers are in Yeti koozies.
We will get those soon-ish. Soon
There you go.
Put it for my iced tea.
All right. Well, that does it for us here. Episode 30 of League of Vloggers. We will see you not next week, not the week after that, as a preview into the play-in stage of Worlds. Until then, cheers.
Cheers. Come watch us on the 23rd play D&D.
Yes.